Throughout Minecraft's history, there has been a variety of updates, many of which drastically improved the game, and others which had their controversial changes. Minecraft 1.3.1 is one such update which often isn't considered so, however, being overshadowed by other massive game updates. Little do most people know though, Minecraft 1.3.1 not only added a variety of core Minecraft features that are key to the game 10 years later, but also completely changed Minecraft single player forever. While the changes at face value were great, especially for the time, they also led to a variety of bugs and issues which still impact the game 10 years later. This goes on for another 10 seconds, by the way. Today we talk about Minecraft 1.3.1, the update which changed Minecraft and single player forever. And of course, help me hit my goal of 500k subs and hit that subscribe button for me. No pressure, of course. 1.3.1 was released on August 1st, 2012. This update introduced a variety of features. Adventure mode was added to the game, very useful for map makers who would create adventure maps, as now they could keep players from breaking blocks. Trading was added to the game, finally giving villagers a use. Many people don't know that villagers were in the game since 1.0.0 and for a while simply did nothing, basically being weird looking passive mobs with oversized noses. So trading getting added was a big deal, not only giving players better access to items, but also because it made the game in general feel much more alive and dynamic, as now there were other mobs you could interact with, just like NPCs in an MMO. As you can imagine, since trading was added to the game, so were emeralds, a highly anticipated new ore which was basically the game's currency, used for trading. Emerald ore was actually rarer than diamond ore, only being present in extreme hills biomes in smaller ore bunches. Fun fact, before emeralds, rubies were initially going to be added to the game instead, and there was even a texture made for it. Book and quills as well as written books were also added in this update, and you could now create wooden slabs and stairs for all the kinds of wood, and they could finally be placed upside down. Ender chests, one of the most useful features of the game for not only single player, but for multiplayer as well, were also added in this update. Able to act as a private and remote access chest storage for players, the community at the time never even imagined something like this would be added. Besides items, we also got two new structures, Desert Pyramids, and Jungle Temp. Wait, this one is a pyramid as well? Anyways, while both are called pyramids, the community adopted the temple name, calling them Desert and Jungle Temple instead. Both of these structures added something new to the game, naturally generated traps which guarded loot. Desert temples contained a deadly pressure plate concealing TNT, and jungle temples containing tripwire hooks connected to dispensers that would fire arrows at you. While cool at first, both traps quickly became useless, although the jungle temple trap likely already was. Going through all the features added in this update, it's interesting to note how important many of the features added here, like trading and desert temples, would become for speedruns in years later. This update also saw a variety of improvements or changes to pre-existing features. Prior to 1.3, XP required for enchantments was randomized each time you put an item in, so in order to get a max level enchant, you would have to spend hours in an enchantment table, refreshing the enchantments over and over and over and over. To make things even worse, players would have to nightmarishly grind for 50 levels to get a max enchantment, rather than 30, and upon the enchantment going through, it would use every single level. Imagine painstakingly killing mobs manually at your primitive 2011 XP grinder for upwards of half an hour to just get level 50, and then painstakingly spamming the left click button with your nice new shiny diamond pickaxe for an hour, only to end up getting Unbreaking 3. 1.3 decreased the amount of XP required for a top level enchantment to 30, and also made it so if you had enough bookshelves, a level 30 enchant would always be present. The famous God Apple would also see its proper introduction to the game, being craftable by surrounding an apple with 8 gold blocks and granting the player regeneration 4, resistance, and fire resistance. There were many other smaller changes in this update as well, which I'm not going to cover but were extremely impactful, such as the slight delay between block breaking being removed, meaning that players were able to rapidly mine blocks when Haste 2 would finally be accessible in survival, one major update later in 1.4.2. I can't imagine Minecraft without insta-mining. This change is arguably the best thing 1.3 had to offer. If you want to visualize just how impactful this update was, imagine that everything on the screen right now wasn't in the game, and consider how much worse it would be. But we haven't even talked about the most impactful feature of this update yet. The largest and most important change of them all wouldn't even be visible until you brought up the pause menu. That's right, Open to LAN. By clicking Open to LAN, you were able to change the game mode and enable cheats. but most importantly was that starting a LAN world allowed your single player world to show up in the server list and for players on the same network as you to join, just like a multiplayer server. At the time, this feature was quite groundbreaking, as it was quite annoying to try and play on a private server with your friends, as you would have to manually set up and run a server, which was already taxing on the laptops of all the mums and dads of the average 10-year-old Minecraft player. Trust me, I know from experience. I still don't know how to port forward to this very day. So, being able to click one button and allowing your friends or siblings to join your world, provided they're on the same network, was awesome. Furthermore, this update also allowed players to finally switch their game mode without the need for an external program or NBT editor. And speaking of creative, the creative inventory finally got a nice update, sorting items into categories and finally allowing players to search for the items they wanted. No longer would players have to memorize where certain items were in the creative inventory. Although annoyingly, for some reason, infested stone bricks and stone still come up first when I search. Please fix that, Mojang, it's been 10 years now. A bunch of useful commands which prior to this could only really be used if players had mods such as single player commands were also now readily accessible in vanilla Minecraft. I personally remember being extremely excited for this update, simply because I could finally switch my survival world to creative and cheat my items back in when I inevitably died. The commands added were very useful. But it wasn't all good. You see, how it worked was that Minecraft single player was no longer technically single player and would run off of an internal server. Think of it as a multiplayer server hosted automatically by Minecraft for you and only allowing you to join until you open to LAN, of course. What that meant is that while yes, you could easily let players on your same network join your world now, many of the issues and bugs which plagued Minecraft multiplayer crept into single player. This is still an issue which affects single player today, and you've likely experienced it in-game yourself at one time or another, occasionally placing a bucket of water or lava and it seemingly doesn't work and places a ghost block.
I give up. I'm done.
This is due to client-server desync in-game, which is when the position of you, the player, according to the internal server, differs to the position you are client-side. You can see bug reports about this issue dating all the way back to 2012 and 2013. Here's one such bug report, which is incredibly extensive, documenting dozens of versions of the game this bug affects. Even though the bug is now marked as resolved, players have still managed to reproduce the issues or other similar bugs. New bug reports are still being made today, relating to client-server desync, which document very similar issues. This water bucket desync bug is often evident in speedruns, where players are often moving really fast, but most importantly, are picking up liquids very quickly, and you can imagine how frustrating it would be when every ghost bucket used is more time wasted. And this issue doesn't just affect liquids either. In the past, it has affected a variety of Minecraft features, including lily pads, boats, and just general Minecraft gameplay and entity movement. If you look on Reddit and YouTube, you'll see a variety of posts from players complaining that their single player world is lagging like multiplayer, especially for players on lower end systems or who are using large mod packs. And it isn't just more modern versions of the game, which are more taxing on game performance. Players have been complaining about internal server issues ever since 1.3.1 was released. The main problem with these internal server bugs and issues is that they often happen unexpectedly and somewhat rarely, but not rare enough to the point where it's negligible. This makes it hard to document and of course, fix the multitude of issues. As you can imagine, this made some members of the Minecraft community upset, and over the years, players have been trying to convince Mojang to change single player back to how it was before 1.3, removing the internal server. But those efforts have been mostly ignored. Not all is bad though. With later Minecraft updates, the issue has been improved significantly, and you can actually see your in-game ping now on F3 as well. While issues surrounding internal server and client desync may never entirely be fixed, it at least has improved a lot. 1.3.1 will go down as one of the biggest and most important updates to Minecraft single player, and also Minecraft in general, adding so many core and important features to the game, and changing how it ran forever. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to let me know if you want to see more like this in the future. Make sure to subscribe to help me reach 500k. Thank you all so much for watching.